had this idea for about a year now to do a book nook that's like Through the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland. And I have this board that was used for something else that I am no longer using it for, that I can make the base out of. So we're gonna take it downstairs into the creepy basement and get it cut to size. I want to express to you very clearly how much I am just winging the measurements of this. Right, so we have our two side pieces, back piece, splinters, bottom piece. Don't have a top piece. We'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'm gonna count on the sins of my construction of this box being largely hidden by everything we're gonna do later. Nothing is square. This is mostly dry enough. So the next step is to get started on the inside. I think we're gonna do flooring, wainscoting, wallpaper, going to build a little fireplace. I had zero luck finding any small mirrors today. So I'm gonna go hunting around my makeup supplies, see if we can pop one out of a compact. I'm sure that will do just fine. And then as far as decor goes, I'm thinking about doing a chair and a side table with a chess board on top of it. Who knows? We'll figure it out as we go along. There's not going to be room for a ton, but we are going to be using, for light references, the images from Through the Looking Glass. So there is one of the fireplace with the mirror on top of it, and one of Alice sitting in the chair playing with kittens before she goes through the looking glass. So we're going to be using those as inspiration. We will start at the bottom, I guess. Try to find the straightest ones of these popsicle sticks for the floorboards to do as least cutting as possible. I'm going to work on the assumption that all of the lengths will be equal here, so I'm going to measure once, cut a billion times. I do think I'm going to put a carpet of some sort down. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like yet, but I'm not going to be too precious about the construction of the hardwood floor because I know most of it's going to get covered up anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I was looking for the emery boards, I did find a compact that has probably too large of a mirror, but depending on the scale of the fireplace, that it'll be huge, but it'll work. Okay, floor construction time. I'm just gonna lay down a layer of Mod Podge and start putting them on. The temptation to just pour it on is high. But we're going to control our inner demons. All right, so the floor is done. There's definitely a couple places where like it would squeak if it was a real floor, but it's not. So I was able to get the mirror out of the compact without breaking the mirror or the compact. Count that as a win, and it will fit in here. It's It's a little big, but I'm thinking if we put a frame around it, it'll cover up some of the mirror, get it down to size a little bit, but I also think, you know, a child walks through this mirror, so theoretically it has to be a big mirror, right? I think what I'm going to do next is, while this continues to dry, wrap the sides and the back in paper, like mimic a book cover. Wanna come say hi? That's Missile. Okay, little project update. The board is wrapped. I have a little bit of overlap on the top that's going to be covered up by the wallpaper. And I added a trim piece on the side. Also about to eat dinner, so the light's going to be pretty different the next time you see me. It is nighttime, and I made some instant coffee as a tea dyeing alternative, and also because I'm trying to get rid of that instant coffee. I might try it out on some of the wood to see how well it stains, but I think we'll start with doing the wallpaper to see if that even works or looks good. I do think that did a really good job. The lighting here is not great this time of day, but I think you can tell the difference. That's the untreated. Ooh. That's the treated. Okay, I did test it on a piece of wood, the coffee, and I do like how it looks. I think I'm going to give it a pass with this, and if there's not enough variation for my liking, I'll give it another pass with watercolor. Okay, that's looking a lot better. There's definitely some places where the glue came through the boards, and so the color isn't sticking as well too, but I'm planning on putting a little rug in, so hopefully that'll get covered up. Grim is very curious about why the project is in his way. That does fall through to another floor, so hopefully he doesn't fall through to another floor. What a cat. Damn, Daniel, back at it again with the Mod Podge. Okay, wallpaper is on, so next we're going to do the chair rail and painting the lower half. I'm going to try to match one of the greens in here as close as possible. Okay, I have the trim pieces painted. While that dries, I'm going to turn my attention to some of the accessories. So I went down to the basement where I have this box of fabric that my mother got, and I found this one, which I think could be nice for the chair. It's just got a very mild sun-faded floral pattern. And then as far as the rug goes, there was this, which I think could bring a more, I don't know, dark and moody vibe to what we've got going. So I think I'm going to cut just a square for the rug and then start drafting the chair, probably out of cardboard. So I think I'm going to do the chair out of paper first, make sure it's not huge. Then cut it out of cardboard, and I have some just like the world's smallest scraps of quilt batting that are left over from a quilt. So cut out of cardboard, cut out the batting, configure the fabric around it, call it a success. Who knows? And there was light. So after mucking around with the chair design last night, I ended up on this little guy. So wing back, pretty appropriately sized to the room. And so I have some scrap batting and the fabric from yesterday. I'm going to cut out these pieces with cardboard, kind of glue it together, get it to work, hopefully, and get this chair going. This is how it's looking with the batting. So next step is to do the fabric. Okay, so here's how the chair is looking right now, unfolded. But now let's move on to the fireplace. Okay, so for the fireplace, I have this cut. It's kind of our base for what's going to be the mantle and the hearth. Cut to about the size I want it to be in here. I realized that because I'm now planning to recess the mirror behind this, that we can cover up some of the length of the mirror with the mantle. So we can only have that much of it exposed, which I think will do a little bit better for the proportions of the room. So I'm going to cut the opening for, I'm going to cut the opening for the mirror so we have that to go off of, and then I have some of the scrap pieces that I used, cutting this down to size that we can start building out the mantle and the hearth and the area around that too. There you are, still plenty big enough for a child to climb through. So we're going to start building the mantle out from here. So I got a good number of little pieces to build this out. I think I'm just going to go ahead and attach them and make any adjustments from there. I think that's going to look perfect. We will let it dry since I already messed it up. Okay, there's a few things that I want to make for this space that we haven't already that I think I'm going to make out of Sculpey. The first is like a chessboard table with a couple pieces. There's a diagram from Through the Looking Glass of a chessboard. So I just want to have like that chessboard there, and I'm only going to make the pieces that are present in that just for my own sanity because this is all very small. And we need legs for the chair. Start with the little table. Just thinking a square top with maybe a more decorative base, like a spindle type. So I'm going to put it aside before I ruin it. New day, same shirt. I didn't wear this shirt all day. I worked. And I wore a nice little work outfit. And now we're back to slumming it in a flannel. So the chair is done, except for the legs, obviously. It turned out pretty well. I ended up making a lot of changes to it. But it's done now. Only caused me a little bit of stress. So we have some legs that I made out of Sculpey. I gotta paint those up. We also have the little chessboard table to paint. I did end up painting the top of the chessboard off camera just because If I'd done it on camera, you wouldn't have been able to see anything. But that actually surprisingly turned out well. And we have a bunch of little chess pieces that are more interpretations of chess pieces and less actual chess pieces. The pawn looks like a pawn, but like, how do you not have a pawn that looks like, oh, you can't even see that, hee hee. So we'll get all this painted up and then we'll bust out the glue gun and actually start gluing things together. Okay, let's get these finicky little pieces where they belong. The mantelpiece is in. Would it stand up to small children? No. Would it stand up to nobody touching it ever? Yes. We're gonna kick it old school with some glue sticks. Maybe not right on that. You can't see anything. Tee. The pictures are in place. If I have a change of heart later, I can always put frames around them. I am definitely, as a human being, a maximalist. So I made a list of just like other little things to put in the room to fill out. Already did a ball of yarn because she is playing with 2 cats before she goes through the looking glass. So we have the yarn for the cats and then cats themselves. Downstairs I actually have little figurines of cats, just more things for the mantle. A lamp, a blanket, a book for the chair. And then I think I'm going to leave off the second wall for now and go less book nook, more book end. So I want to just finish these sides. We'll see what ends up happening. So I'm going to just do those little things, add it in, and then we'll be finished. For the lamp, I'm thinking just cutting off a Q-tip and using these wooden beads that I have to create some sort of like interesting thing. Shockingly, wooden beads on a slanted surface. Not as easy to put together as you would think. Let's go downstairs and loot a couple things for the mantle and the book nook from downstairs. Okay, this is a little thing we have downstairs. I am gonna take the mushroom for the mantle. I did think about the little raccoons instead of cats, but we do have these little guys down here. I'm not gonna take Mama because I think she's gonna throw off the scale too much, but I think the kittens will be okay. All right, here we go. Let's see what we can take. I don't think anything's glued down. Oh, I lied. It's all glued down. Crap. Okay, we'll nick this little guy. Whoa, take this guy for the ground. So the last 2 things, and I think I'll call myself happy. I want to paint a little clock for the mantle and a book. I do have a little bit of paper that I was using for paint, but I can still use the outside of it as kind of the book cover, and then either use a little foam board if we're doing it closed, or I guess I could still use foam board if it's open, just to make the little book to sit on the chair. So I guess that's all that's left is the clock. That looks like a little chair leg. I could have saved so much time. Oh, next time. That's how we're doing chair legs. It didn't occur to me that I will now have What time? Everyone's favorite 1:27. I hope a lot of people who aren't like really into neatness don't watch this, because I feel like the background of every single one of these has been a mess. Okay, all my last little bits and bobs are done, so I'm going to put her all together. This was definitely a fun project that I'd been wanting to do for a while, so I'm glad I finally just did it. And here's a look at the book nook in its final spot. If you liked this video, share it, like it, follow, all that good stuff. It'll definitely help the channel grow. Thanks for watching.